to AJ Brown and talk about the trade. I know. John, are we in delusion about AJ Brown? Are his best days just behind him? Would the Eagles be right to trade him at this point? 32 million, 29 years old, 2 straight years of way dipped numbers, missed 6 regular season games in the last 2 seasons, dropping passes left and right, at the end of the season there, something we've never seen.
I think that's a stretch left and right.
What do you mean? He jumped he's bitching at Jalen Hurts to throw him the ball. Jalen said, all right, AJ, here's the ball in the playoffs, and AJ lets it go through the hands.
I got people shitting on me for daring to say that T.O. shouldn't be in the conversation with Jerry Rice and Randy Moss because of how much he drops the football, and he dropped it, 17 times one season, more than 10 times for 8 seasons. I got these people telling me AJ drops the football too much. Come on.
That's what I said. I'm saying that the trend is that the drops have increased.
Look, you're going to hear, when he does get traded, you're going to hear all those stories. That's going to be the spin. Don't buy that spin. Look, he wasn't happy. You talk about reduced production. I mean, they shifted their offense dramatically. And by shifted, I don't mean style. I mean, they leaned on Saquon Barkley. When Saquon got here, they shifted. And they obviously didn't throw it as much. So people say, well, Jalen Hurts.
Do you think AJ's the same exact player then? You don't think there's any sort of
well, no, not necessarily. I'm saying, there might be slight slippage, just natural aging that happens in the NFL, but he's still a big time wide receiver in this league. And they're not replacing him on the field with Hollywood Brown and Chris Bell, if that, to use my example. Certainly not in the short term.
He's not going to be AJ Brown.
Certainly not in the short term. Is it fair to say he's not what he was at his height? Yeah, maybe. There are the knee is troublesome. There have been some hamstring issues as well. Happens to everybody. But I would not be surprised if he goes to New England and has a big year at all, because he's going to be motivated and he's going to hear some of those stories that the Eagles did the right thing and this and that. And by the way, I will also point out the Eagles don't want to trade him. They don't want to trade him. If there weren't other issues,
but they don't want to trade him, not because they don't want to trade him because it's a cap nightmare for the Eagles, and they're not going to get back the value for the player.
Well, that's part of it, but they wouldn't be thinking about trading the player if there was no cap nightmare, if there weren't other issues. So, in other words, if this were the final year of his deal, they wouldn't be thinking about trading him. They'd be thinking about working out an extension, because they still think he's a big-time player. Now, that will change. You will hear the news, and they'll spin it the way they spin it. I'm saying take that with a grain of salt.
I don't know if it's spin. Wait, so John, do you think AJ's best days are behind him? Yes or no?
No, I think he'll have a massive year this year in New England. That's certainly better than his past 2 years here. So if you look at it that way, no. I mean, if he's healthy and in New England, I guarantee he produces more than he's produced the last 2 years in Philadelphia, just simply from the style of offense. I guarantee it.
I'm not trying to say he's not a great player. The only thing I'm saying is we're paying $32 million, and I don't know if he's.
Look, I've seen that.
Maybe it's smart, John, to get rid of him.
I've seen this shift in real time, because people are starting to really first come to Jesus moment, and you think, you know what, he's probably not going to be back.
You're right about that. Eagle fans are turning on AJ for sure.
So they got to brace themselves.
Me included.
They got to figure it out, and they got to spin it to make themselves move forward. The Eagles love the player. If he wasn't a pain in the you know what with the social media stuff, there would be no issues. None. Zero. Nada. At times, Nick, depending on the day, because sometimes he'll say Lane Johnson, sometimes he'll say A.J. Brown, will tell you he's the best player he's ever coached. But yeah, there you have it. So yeah, people are going to make up their
You're
narrative.
not buying my narrative that maybe AJ's best days are in the rear view mirror.
Again, that he's getting to the age where that could be the case, and you won't even know it. But what I will say, statistically, he will be better next season in New England if he's in New England. That's an easy bet if he stays healthy, because the Eagles didn't throw the football over the past 2 years effectively, or volume wise, which is part of the reason why he's wants to go in a different direction. The reason, to be honest.
Well, like you say, John, receivers are a dime a dozen in the NFL. They're producing They're producing so many receivers they don't know what to do with.
No,
well, here we got a guy who's making 32 and he's not catching the ball in the playoffs.
Competent receivers, I said. You should be able, but you have to go about it a different way.
How many drops did A.J. Brown have in the playoff game after whining and moaning all year, and then Jalen puts the ball in his hands and he drops it? How many times did that happen? 3? 4?
Man. I don't know what they credited.
That game pissed me off. I'm not going to lie to
you. Well, the game should have pissed you off for more reasons than A.J. Brown.
Yes, and it did for more reasons than that.
Again, I think the defense got to because the defense had a good season, so I think people gave them a pass. I don't think they played well either. He was credited with 2 drops, and which is huge for him. But again, you got the same. I can't take that seriously when you got the same people jumping on their sword for T.O. because he played one good season in Philadelphia. The guy has not had a history of drops. But yeah, I've said it pretty consistently. At times he lost focus because he was frustrated, and he can't do that. I mean, I'm not defending it. By the way, the Eagles combined for 4 drops on 3rd down, their most in 20 years in that game. So there were other drops as well. Yeah, they played a shitty game. Boy, that was a bad loss, man. Bad loss. Bad against a team that shouldn't have been there. From a standpoint, look, they're a good team, San Francisco, but they were just so banged up. So many injuries that they shouldn't have been in that game. It was a terrible loss. So, and it was not a good game by A.J. Brown. It was not a good game by so many players. But I mean, to dismiss what he did in Philadelphia, oof, you're talking yourself into some shit.
I'm not dismissing what he did. I'm saying that
I say what he did. I shouldn't put it in the past yet. It's not done officially. I think it will be done.
I'm not dismissing what. I'm not
and
dismissing.
By the way, if for some reason it doesn't work out and Howie stays stubborn, and he's got a history of being stubborn, and he's back, the same people will be re-embracing him and yelling at people like me who were telling him, "Oh, you guys were just lying. He's the greatest receiver." Same people.
I love J-Man. I like when you mock us. I think it's funny. All right, so you should.
Well, you know it's true. That's what's going to happen.
I do know it's true, but at the end of the day, I am looking at this like, hey, maybe we have turned a blind eye though on. I mean, look. The reason I have concerns is because we've talked a lot about defense the last couple of weeks because of the departures and because of obviously the holes on the roster when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. I'll ask you a simple question and we'll run through the whole offense right now. Are A.J. Brown's best days behind him, yes or no?
Well, again, what by the average fan's view, no, because he's going to have a better year offensively in better year catching the football statistically in New England.
Well,
So,
but how
I mean,
long?
if
1 year? He's got what? 1 year of that, maybe 2 years of that.
if
How long
he's
do you
got
expect him to do that?
if he's got 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns, do you think people are going to say, well, he didn't round off his routes as well? That might be the case.
Are Saquon Barkley's best days behind him?
Probably, but look at what his best days were.
Yeah, but they're gone. I'm focused on 2026. I'm not focused on 2024 anymore.
Well, my only point is you can't replicate a 2,005-yard season.
I agree.
You can. In theory, you can, but I mean, there's no law that says you can't, but it's just extremely unlikely. Can AJ replicate his best season? Yes, I think he could.
Are Landon Dickerson's best days behind him?
Yes.
Cam Jurgens?
Nah, I don't think necessarily.
Lane Johnson?
It's hard to tell. Look, Lane was playing every bit as well as he normally does before he got hurt. So, at 36,
he's like the cyborg of the team. He's like the super.
I mean, I can't say. Obviously, at his age, you would just presume that he's not going to have his best season. So, but he's still. It wouldn't shock me at all if he plays at an all-pro level, which, again, depending on your definition, is it going to be at the height of his career? Probably not. So I guess to answer your question literally, yeah, it's probably his best days are behind him because of his age.
Are Goddard's best days behind him?
Yeah.
And are Jalen Hurts' best days behind him?
Not necessarily.
I agree with that. All right, well, that's a lot of players, John.
Well,